Good morning, my little family here on YouTube at Elisa Maria Designs. Welcome and thank you for sharing this Sunday a little while with me as we share Self-Care Sunday together. Today's April the 14th. I hope that this day finds you well. I know that here in Philadelphia, we will be experiencing a very nice day, and I'm hoping to hobble. For those of you that know, you know, I broke my leg, my bottom of my leg towards my ankle anyway. So I'm going to get out into some sunshine because I need some vitamin D. So today I thought I wanted to talk about gravity. And what you're seeing me do here is how I prepare for my Self-Care Sunday. And so I have my trusty friend, my favorite book, one of my favorite books. They're all my favorite books. From Mark Nepo, The Book of Awakening. And I can tell from my face I'm getting ready to write my outline for this little talk that we're going to have in the next half hour. And I'm a little frustrated. I always turn to the Book of Awakening for daily guidance. And I just, for the first time in a long time, I know sometimes I think, oh, I'm not finding what I need here. And so let me just kind of thumb through the book and see if I can find what it is that I'm looking for. And I was just not feeling it. And I thought, I guess it's because, in the light of the earthquake that we had, I didn't feel this one. I was actually, this was pre-broken leg. I was actually in the dentist, and I was in the dentist chair and did not know anything about an earthquake at all. But I think in light of the earthquake, and then we had this big event. We had a solar eclipse. And it was 50 years ago, the last time I took part in a solar eclipse. So I'm privileged that twice in my lifetime, I got to witness a solar eclipse. But there's something that vibrates within you, especially if I know that if you're here and you're creative and imaginative and you like to be creative and make beautiful things, I know that you're probably very sensitive to the things around you. And this past week has just been so kind of charged, and I'm trying to, and also thank you, Gabrielle, for reminding me that Mercury is in retrograde. Oh my God. You have to laugh. You just do. When we have these events that happen all at once, it's like, it really led me into a lot of time on my mat and, time now that I'm like basically immobile, to sit and think and write. I did a lot of diamond painting, that's for sure. But just trying to look at, okay, I've been shaken and I'm vibrating, and to try and come out of this, like the only way to go through something is to go through it, right? You always hear people say, oh, I went through this and I went through that. You do. Yeah, you have to go through it. You have to come out the other side. And I want all of us to come out the other side, even if we come out shaking and dancing, that we're coming out with this new highly charged vibration that can just uplift us. But so I'm thinking that with an event so big, with the solar eclipse and already being shaken by the earthquake, I really couldn't keep my focus on the reading. I really couldn't even tell you I think April the 14th. I did read it. It didn't stay with me though, because I was so, like, such a scatterbrain thinking about Self-Care Sunday and what I wanted to turn my attention to. It really didn't stay with me. I think it had to do with like when you take responsibility when something goes wrong and you automatically think that it's your fault. And I just couldn't keep my mind on that reflection that Mark Nepo was writing about. But I'm writing in my journal, and um, I was writing about the Earth's behavior, and I wrote the word earthquake, and the word above was the word earth. And just writing the word earthquake, which fell under the word earth in the sentence above, hesitated my writing because I'm looking at it and I'm reading it differently. I'm saying it differently. I'm saying earth, quake. I made them two separate words. I really wanted to have the word earth and quake come across the screen and kind of dissolve on the screen as two separate words, but I don't want to stop what I'm talking about because then I'll just lose my train of thought. And I'm going to blame that on the vibration and energy that's been going on. But writing the word earthquake, the earth, for all of her support and stability that she provides to us day after day. Well, at least here in Philadelphia, because we are not prepared for the shaking of the earth, as well as our brothers and sisters on the West Coast. But for all her support and stability, she found herself shaking and quivering beneath our feet. We have become too much weight for her to handle. And it made me think about everything that's going on. Like, you guys know I constantly have YouTube on. I constantly have something positive or an audiobook or a seminar or a lecture that I'm listening to, because to turn on, this reporting from news stations is just not good. So, but I know, I am aware of it, and it made me think, maybe it is not going to be something so unusual for Philadelphia any longer. Maybe Philadelphia should begin to brace herself for more quakes, since we have ceased to be the city of brotherly love. Philadelphia is the place where our Declaration of Independence was signed. This is where Betsy Ross made our American flag, where Benjamin Franklin ran his printing presses. And I've been to all these things because I don't live far from them, from the center of the city. I've been to, I think it's the real Liberty Bell. They may not have the real Liberty Bell out any longer. And I love that part of our city. And I've been to the printing presses and Betsy Ross's house and the old city hall. It's very quaint, very colonial, very beautiful. And for a long time, that's what Philadelphia was. And, I think that no matter where you are, but we felt this here, and it's so unusual. It's just about how unusual it is to feel an earthquake in Philadelphia. And I was watching the news, and I was watching where they say they think that it started, and you could have seen people. They were following the line where the where the earth really just had a nervous breakdown. She just cracked, and people were following the line with their kids and looking at it, and the earth like just breaking away. And it was kind of like she just shrugged her shoulders and said, enough. Like, get off my back. Or I need to wake you up about what it is that you're doing to her, but also to ourselves. I really think that we're in a state today where everything is just moving so quickly. Just, you know, go anywhere in the world and stand there, or and let people walk by you. Not one of them has their heads up. They all have their face in a phone. Or go sit in a park. I have a lovely park in my neighborhood with a beautiful fountain. The only people that are looking up are the children. They're running around and they're playing. Parents, teachers, adults, their heads are all down. And it annoys me to no end when you go somewhere to witness something, a concert, a play, or even something, if you happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and you're witnessing something terrible, the first instinct is to take your cell phone out and let me capture this for content. It's like, well, I was actually looking at Instagram this week, and it was a councilman. It was actually a person that was running for council, and he was watching a woman rob a cart from a laundromat. So it was one of those carts that you can wheel out. And I guess she figured, well, this will be great for me to take home. And so she put her laundry in the car. And he's videotaping her. I'm like, you're running for city council. Put the phone down. Go out and say, ma'am, what are you doing? Are you robbing this laundry cart? I mean, she's a little old lady. She's not, I mean, you're a big guy. And he's just laughing. He's like, look at this. She's robbing the cart. And she puts the cart in the car. She finally gets it in where the wheels are sticking up. And when she closed the back of her BMW that she was driving, the wheels of the cart came through the back of the glass. So it's like, it's karma, and not with a K, CARMA, karma. And it's just like I think we've so have lost our way. I mean, this woman was old enough to know right from wrong. I don't know what she was thinking. She could have afforded, to get some kind of contraption for her home. I know that they sell them where you wheel them around your house. I've seen them on Instagram. Put your laundry away. But we're just so far from what I remember as a child and growing up and learning, right from wrong, good from bad, good and evil. And so, I didn't really expect this from my writing today. My head was more this week pondering over the nature of gravity, over the Earth's force, this force called gravity that gently tethers us to the Earth and keeps us, from floating away. And, it's like the Earth, like I said a few minutes ago, she just kind of like, shook her shoulders and was like, get off of me for a while. And I just like had my head in the clouds about gravity and having, things in our life that happen that really make us feel like the rug has been pulled out from under us. We have that phrase that we say, or we don't feel that. There have been times in my life where I've had anxiety so badly that I have that floating anxiety. Maybe you do too, where you just feel like you're going to float away. And in my writing, and I guess, looking at my other books, I don't think that I've gotten up here yet and have gotten my other books. I might just still be looking at Book of Awakening. I'm not really paying attention to the video. But I did take one book out called Meditations from the Mat. And, I used that book all during my yoga training. And I think when you have that floating feeling and you have that anxiety in that way, or something shakes you and you don't feel stable, or you don't know what to do next, or your head is in the clouds, you can use gravity to ground you. That's what it does. It makes us stable, and it grounds us very gently. And you can sit in a chair and tune your senses into the gentle pull of gravity, either through your feet, or maybe you place your hands on a table, or you're sitting on your seat, on your sit bones. Try and bring your senses into that gentle pull from the earth that keeps us tethered to her, and show her some love. She needs a thank you from us, in any way that you can think of, to connect yourself to the earth. Going to a park, laying in the grass. It's a great way to really feel the earth's vibration and ground yourself, in the grass, and laying flat on your back, letting the sun hit your face, like really getting involved with nature. And it was interesting that, while my head was in the clouds, thinking about gravity and this unsettling feeling that I've had all week long, and then the solar eclipse, and then, even my own stuff that's going on, having dental work, breaking, my leg towards my ankle, but it was more, even though that's major things to be going on in your life, physically with your body, it was more this mental energy, this really having to stop, just having to stop, and just having, to be quiet, and to be pensive, and to be thoughtful, and to be really in tune, back in tune with myself. And the core of the earth may have been shaking, but maybe you feel this too. You shake into your own core in a way. It can't help but affect you, because everything vibrates and everything spins. And when things become a little slanted, we of course are going to feel it. But I was really surprised that I couldn't find anything in my trusty Book of Awakening. There was nothing about the earth or gravity, or this feeling of like floating, or I even looked at like weightlessness or levitation. I was going really down the rabbit hole. And it was really surprising to me that, earth. Oh, I'm back with my books. I think I got up from my chair and I went to go get some books. And the one that I have in my hand right now is, let me see. I can see Becoming Supernatural, which I love, by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I have Meditations of the Mat. But I have in my hand another book by Mark Nepo. I'm not biased, I swear. And it's called 7,000 Ways to Listen. And I was just surprised, going back to Book of Awakening, that the earth, the very planet that sprung us to life, that I couldn't find any comfort in the words of Mark Nepo to soothe this anxious energy that I was feeling in what was coming up in this writing. And I did go get another book, and I'm showing you guys something, and I'm shaking my head. I'm very emotional here. I know that I am. But I did say to myself, well, just go get another book. You have a lot of books. And I went to go grab my resources that you're looking at. And I was grateful that they were all downstairs and not in my art room. Meditations from the Mat is another one of my books that I hold dear. Mostly because I did a lot of my yoga teacher training with that book, and a lot of my yoga classes that I taught with that book. And Rolf Gates, who is a yoga teacher, and Katrina Kennison are the authors of that masterpiece. And it's based a lot from their time on the mat, teaching and training. And what I like about that book also is their daily reflections. So 7,000 Ways to Listen, because there are, by Mark Nepo, he wrote that book because there's 7,000 languages. And I thought, well, what's the Earth's language? And is that something that he covered? And I'm writing like a fiend here. I'm coming to the end of that journal too. And I think that I went through 4 pens. It's such a lovely feeling I know that I get when the pen runs out of ink. Because it just makes me think of all the words that I've written, all the breakthroughs that I've had, all the insights. You know, my journal is my therapist, that's for sure. So while I was perusing the table of contents, and that's probably why I'm a little bit behind the video here. There was a reflection that Mark Nepo did, and it was called Conversation with the Elements. That pulled me in. I always appreciate Mark Nepo's quotes at the beginning of every chapter that he pulls from all different resources. Rolf Gates and Katrina Kennison do the same thing in Meditations from the Mat. They have these quotes that they put at the beginning of each chapter from all different resources also. But under conversations with the elements, there was a quote from Leonard Cohen. And I could go on for days when it comes to Leonard Cohen and his very sweet, seductive voice. But I will save that for another time. Mesmerizing and as hypnotic as it is. And I will give you this quote. In fact, I'm going to open up the book, 7,000 Ways to Listen, Staying Close to What is Sacred, by Mark Nepo. And there's a lot of people that you would recognize in this book, a lot of people that gave voice to this book. I think it was page 68. Let me see here. Yes, A Conversation with the Elements. Leonard Cohen's quote is, "If you don't become the ocean, you will be seasick every day." Wow. So, after reading that quote, after reading that one sentence, I already knew that I would be reading this entire page to you. It's only 2 paragraphs. We are so close to the earth that we often forget it is alive. And the language of its aliveness is what we call nature. When we listen to nature, we are listening to the earth. Of course, such a conversation takes time because we are too small to readily grasp what the earth has to say. The vast earth has carried us our whole lives. Can we thank it? It has held up and endured everything for thousands of years. Can we ask it how? It speaks with 1,000 tongues, none of which uses words, yet to build a relationship with that which holds us up seems essential. But what can we hear? As the smog we've created prevents us from seeing the sky, the noise of machinery we've created prevents us from hearing the wind and birds and quiet teachers that have always been there. When I leave the mechanical hive, even briefly, I can tell that the horse runs to know its father, the wind. Just the other day, I took a walk where there was no pavement. I lost my way and followed 2 geese until I reached the end of my small logic. And what I also like about Mark Nepo is that he has a reflective pause at the end of each one of the reflections that he gives for us to read. And this is like I would say that this was a walking meditation. And after you read this, you know, if you want to take a reflective pause on these words, Mark's suggestion is to go for a slow walk and let yourself be stopped by a stream or a patch of wind through an old tree. Pause at this whisper from the earth. Pause there and be still. Your stillness is a form of listening. Be still until you feel the largest of what carries you. As I completed reading the page, like I said, it's only 2 paragraphs. My eye kind of drifted over to the next page, and it was the very word that I have been pondering all week. Right smack in the middle of the page, the word gravity. I didn't read this. This is about maybe 4 or 5 paragraphs. Okay, it's called The Need to Be in the World. Have you searched the vastness for something you have lost? And that quote is by Robert Service. As astronauts spend time in space, weightlessness, another word that I looked up today, causes muscle atrophy. With little or no resistance required to move, their muscles and bones harden and retract. Astronauts in their 30s can return to Earth with the bone density of people in their 70s. I'm actually looking at what I did right there. I actually put a bookmarker in just randomly in the page of that book. And I went back to see what was bookmarked, what page I opened to, as I do. So people in their 30s can come back to Earth with a bone density of people in their 70s. Specific biological and chemical reactions cause this, but in our conversation with the elements, we can perceive something deeper, that yearn as we do to shed the weight of the world. We need to be in the world to realize our dreams. Just as too much gravity is oppressive and crushing, the loss of gravity doesn't free us but causes us to atrophy and disintegrate at an accelerated rate. Paradoxically, the only way to make it through the weight of the world is to stay in the world. And it gets a little, it's really 2 pages, so it really has to do with like wanting to be free of the world, and yet the only way out is through. I mean, I just can't even believe the things that are hitting me in the face. Like, I just said this. And it's the reflective pause of, okay, I'm going to go back. An ancillary paradox is at work in the kinship between light and dark. We yearn so hard and long to be rid of darkness, yet without dark, there is no shadow. And without shadow, there is no depth of perception. Without any depth of perception, we have no sense of direction, no sense of what is near or far. In our need to find our way, we are asked not to bypass darkness, but to work with it and through it. Still, it is humbling to realize that, though we need the elements of nature, we cannot survive. They are pure force. 10 years ago, I made my way to the Continental Divide in the Rocky Mountains, through the Estes Park in Colorado. I've always been drawn to wide open spaces and was eager to ascend away from the human tangle. But as I made it past the tree line into the tundra, the bareness was as cold and forbidding as it was magnificent. It made me dizzy. I stopped and sat in the crook of a large rock overlooking a vast canyon. I sat there long enough to regain my balance. By this time, the glare of wonder had evaporated. Just then, a mountain jay teased its way near me, swooping higher in the mountain air where humans can't go. At that moment, I heard the jay in mountain air and the cold stone holding me say in utter silence, "Go back among the living where you belong." I was shocked, but it was true. It made me realize that we are all welcome to make a pilgrimage up this far in the thin majesty of things. We are welcome to be humbled and cleansed, but we are meant to live lower, moving among the roots and branches, following the elusive song of birds and the tracks of shy animals, all calling us to remember our fundamental nature. And He does it to me all the time. He makes me very emotional. His words ring so true for me. The reflective pause is a journal question this time. Describe a time when you wanted to be free of the world and yet the only way out was through. What steered you back into the world and what helped you through? That's a great journaling question. That's one that I'm going to sit with later on today. I had to take a pause because I was so full of emotion after reading those two reflections by Mark Nepo. And just, at the wonder of being and feeling lost when I started this video and feeling lost in my emotions 1 minute, looking for guidance, and then getting up and seeking an answer and guidance from my other books and finding it. You all bore witness to my experience of, speaking about these things and then having them like unfold minutes later. I don't know if I told you this. Yeah, I did tell you this, but again, it was the line from Vanilla Sky. It only takes a minute to turn it all around. It's a wonderful line that I love from that movie, and it does. It's a moment. I think it's more of a moment. You have a choice all the time. You can go right or left, up or down, right or wrong. But if I said this already, it's going to give you two different outcomes, and you have the choice. And it does really take, if you're in something and you want to go through it, you have to make a choice to go through it. And it does just take a second. It's like that, to just turn it all around, to just get off the merry-go-round, to just stop the madness, to just get off and change your life. And it just makes me aware that miracles, they come in moments. It's true. Sometimes they are magnificently obvious and grand. And other times they come in everyday moments. These moments that, I think there's a book. Is there a book that there are no ordinary moments? But I think they can be ordinary the same way they can be miraculous. That depends on you, Surely there are not ordinary moments, but that is something that needs you to make them miraculous, and how you choose to move through this world. I believe I'm coming to the end of my writing, and I'm about to begin. Foofy was actually bothering me. I cut all that out. He needed a treat, and I think I needed a break. I think I needed time to just really sit with this writing that was going in one direction and then went in another. And I was thinking, what is my thumbnail going to be for Self-Care Sunday? Because I went into this thinking about gravity, and it went into the earth and its language. And, of course, it ends in miracles and moments. And I kept thinking, well, I know that the universal sound, not to throw any shade, no pun intended, on the solar eclipse. But, in my teacher training, we chant the sacred mantra of Om. Om is very calming to your nervous system. And in so many Hindu scriptures, there's so many definitions for the word Om, but I think the universal definition is that it is the sound of all creation. It is the sound of the universe. It is, but I think I really like the definition in the Upanishads that they consider it to be God in the form of sound. And it made me think, well, do the planets have a sound? This earth that we are living on, does it have a sound? And of course, I go down that rabbit hole and I'm going to link it in this video. But yes, dear ones, the earth does have a sound. It has a hum. And just to make this video even more miraculous, right? It is measured by the same equipment that we measure earthquakes. And for the longest time, it was thought that submarines were the reason for this sound. Can you imagine? But here, it is the crashing of the waves at the edge of all the continents that make this humming sound. And it got really technical. Oh, I'm showing you guys the word gravity. There we go. There we go. There's my little miracle moment. Oh gosh, I'm so emotional. I'm so emotional. I can see it in my face. I'm getting teary-eyed. I'm getting teary-eyed just looking at myself because I have these things that happen, and like I've been doing this, I think, a long time for me anyway, and I just like open myself up to everything, and I am just always so filled of wonder at asking you shall receive. There's Foofy. He's like, come on, Mom, hurry up. But I'm going to link that video. I think it's on YouTube. It is the sound of the earth, and I have to tell you, for me it was a little unnerving, but I'm gutsy and I go for it because I hear this kind of like exhale. It's like a humming, but it's almost like you hear a breath. Like I can't tune into an inhale, but I can hear an exhale, and this humming, churning sound. And then when I kind of relaxed into it, it was a little it then unfolded as the sound of different elements. It sounded like fire, it sounded like wind, it sounded like water, and it sounded like breath. Wow. What a journey today for me. And I'm so happy that I was able to be here today. I don't like not being able to be here, but we all have things that happen, things that come up, and things that we are out of our control, and we just have to let go, and we have to let God. And I'm really just still in a state of, not in a state, but in a vibration of awe. Awe would be the best way of, because I felt so perplexed earlier about what am I going to talk about? Like, I can't seem to put my finger on what it is that I want to say from any of the places that I go to for my grounding, and I did tap into that little meditative exercise that I gave you earlier to see if you can gently experience the pull of gravity. And again, you can go out in your yard. You can go out, go out in your yard barefooted and just stand there. Just feel the earth under your feet and the vibration of the earth. Or stand in some grass, or better yet, lay in some grass. Shavasana, take a Shavasana. Relax your mind. Do something for you and for the earth today. It's bittersweet for me to go into my diamond painting next, and it's just going to be quiet time. I don't have any talking going on. The music that I had on in the background, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it with me now talking over this video, but It was so nice, and it was quiet in my house, and Fufi was behaving, and I really just enjoyed my time writing. And I again was when I finally went into the diamond painting, I was enjoying the diamond painting, and I didn't want to stop, but this had gone over an hour, so it was like 42 minutes, I think, for Self-Care Sunday. And it was, 20 minutes of diamond painting, but I have to say I got a lot done because we're coming into just her face, and there's a lot of clicks and snaps because it's, just a small space that has to be filled in. And I also wanted to put at the tail end of the video that on Monday, I had it planned for Tuesday, but then John's going to be home. But on Monday, if you saw my unboxing from the Klimt portraits that I unboxed a couple of days ago, I fell in love with both of them. But when I opened up the Kiss, and it had those little flowers, oh my gosh, that's all I can think about. And I've always wanted to do a master class. Oh, we're getting ready to say goodbye. So I'm going to tell you very briefly, and then I'm going to chat, and then I'm going to say goodbye. So Monday I'm going to do a master class, a true one, a true master class on the artist Gustav Klimt, who he was, where he lived, his life, just everything that you would want to know about a painting and the artist. That's what I'm going to be doing on Monday, and I am so excited, and I will see you there. And I really want to thank you guys for joining me on Self-Care Sunday. I appreciate it so much. I think that it's a good thing, and you go out there and do good things, and I will see you in the next one as we create this world that we want to live in. Well, that's it for that color. I just wanted to say thank you for joining me today for Self Care Sunday. You know, I just love Self Care Sunday. Fufi is getting a little restless, so I'm going to end this diamond painting that I'm doing on this video here, but the music is so lovely and it's just so quiet and meditative right now for me that I'm going to continue. So if you want to see more of this, I will upload it all together, maybe another hour. Okay? Create the world that you want to live in. And thank you for joining me today. It's so special to me that you do.